live. Hello, it's Jane. It is day 4 of Artvent calendar, and today we are celebrating the Watercolour Library, which is a set of watercolour tube paints. I'm just going to move them on there a little, right. And this was extremely exciting for me to, I might even show myself, oh hello. Very exciting for me to work on because, I mean, watercolour in general is just so fabulous, but watercolour tubes just expand the way that you can use watercolour so much because you can make other things with them. So, watercolour tubes, just give you a little looky, there we go. These are all the colours in the Watercolour Library, and I'll show you the cute boxes. I'm just going to pretend you've never seen anything with me before, so bear with me, just grabbing, oh, where's my other little colour card? She's gone wandering up, oh, there she is, okay. I don't know why it's a she. So this is the boxes for the 2 different sets, and just see if I manage to get a link there. Oh, there we go. I can see it. La-di-da. Okay. Hey, Marcy. How you going? Hey, Jenny. So, the Watercolour Library, there's 24 colours and 2 different sets. So, we have the By the Fireside for one library and By the Sea or Beside the Sea for the other library. Cooler colours, warmer colours, you know, fire and ocean. And on the back of the boxes, you've got the pigment information and light fastness, etc. And they also come with the beautiful little swatch cards. And the reason they're called the Colour Library, and the reason they have the names that they do, such as Pride and Prejudice, Gone with the Wind, Heart of Darkness, The Odyssey, Time Machine, Great Gatsby, these are literary classics. So, and this is the Colour Library, so they're named after amazing books. And well, I love naming colours, and had a lot of fun with this one. Pride and Prejudice is one of my favourite books and films, and so that's why it got the Opera Rose, which is one of the most gorgeous things on the planet. And this is the larger version. So I'll do that, and then I can put these out of the way. This is the larger version of the watercolours. And so we've got Painted Veil, Gulliver's Travels, 20,000 Leagues, Pride and Prejudice, and Little Women. And when you get the set, you can get this paint key as a gift. Isn't that so cute? You can get them separately as well. So I'm just making room for myself as I go. Right, now, as I was saying, the tubes, fabulous, because you can fill any shaped pan with them, literally just squirting the watercolour in. So, for instance, I could give myself a little bit more of the Pride and Prejudice, but I won't use all the little pristine ones here. I'll fill her with this. I've added a little dot of water so far already, and then you just need to let this set. Usually 24 hours is plenty. You just fill them up, and you can make all sorts of different sets. So this is the Fantastic palette. Oh, Jenny says she loves these watercolours. They're fantastic. This is the Fantastic palette, which has got a magnetic tray and the mermaid scale pans. I've turned them to their side so I can fit all 24 on there, but usually the palette is like this with the mermaid scales, like that. You can fit more in if you just turn them to the side, but it's a really fabulously shaped pan, as it turns out, apart from being aesthetically pleasing for the mermaid lovers. This is the Art Time palette. This is the larger version, so it can fit the 24 colours. These little tiny pans are removable, so you can move them about and reorder them if you like. I've got them in their 2 sets, but probably I would reorder these into rainbow formation. And and I would maybe put my mixing colours together. Maybe not. But you've got the little mixing tray here. This is so you can wipe your water brush. And I do have a little mini one. Where's the mini? Oh, I don't have the little guy, do I? There she is. With the little mermaid towel. There is a theme to my world. But also, like if you're really travelling small, boop, you've got your little water brush. That's got the water in the handle. So that's already moisturised. You can just give it a squeeze. I've dipped it in the water. And then and then off we go. Off on our adventure, wherever that may be. So any shape palette, this is like those little mini wooden ones. I love the aesthetics of all of these little ones, but they're just not my cup of tea. There we've got the little, that's just another little shaped one. And this one here, so I'll actually pop this one out of the way. This vintage watercolour tin has in it all 24 of the colour library plus the original 3 tins of watercolours that are the pans. So the Brights palette, the Neutral palette and the Glitzy palette, which has the 2 sheer metallics. So they are all in here as well. So, and then I've got a little laminated card there at the top. They don't really quite fit in the palette, but it doesn't go anywhere. This lives on my desk and it's just got all my watercolour in it. But I might pop him there. And what else can I tell you? Well, I might pop these out of the way as well because we've seen these, so we know what's what. And now this journal here, when I launched the watercolours, we did a month of watercolour live streams, and I painted all of these pages as live streams, celebrating each colour. So we've got Anne of Green Gables, Wind in the Willows. So I can show you. I've got them in rainbow formation here. They're not in their sets, but there's Green Gables. Here's Wind in the Willows, this beautiful, lovely foliage green. We've got a little pond mermaid watching the antics of the people from Wind in the Willows. Secret Garden. Gulliver's Travels. It's the ultimate aqua. 20,000 Leagues is the most beautiful cobalt turquoise, and this journal is made from one of my paper packs, so it's got all of my paper in it. This is the Odyssey, the ancient a tale from ancient Greece. Homer wrote this. Is, I mean, how are we talking? 3,000-4,000 years? Anyway, actually, was he 500 BC? Whatever. The tale is a lot older than when he wrote it down. This is 80 days, so 80 days around the world. And then I painted watercolour on the levitation paper and then cut it up as collage. So this is collage watercolour. Here we have Gone with the Wind. And I've also added in a little bit of Star Power Sparkle. Oh, Pages of an Art Journal says, "Hi Jane, I just want to say your product started me on my art journaling a few years ago." Oh, that's lovely too. Art journaling is just so good. This is Oliver Twist, because art journaling can be something like this, just colour exploration, but it can also incorporate what's going on in your life. It can just be writing, it can be just imagery, it can just be colour swatches, it can be all of those things on different pages. It's not for anyone else, it's just for you. So it just makes it so cathartic and enjoyable. So this is Pride and Prejudice, which is this really bright opera rose. This is Little Women. Got a little touch of obviously other things. I've got watercolour pencil in here as well. Oh yes, I feel like doing that together. This is Wuthering Heights. We have Kate bush dancing to Wuthering Heights. We have Pygmalion. So Pygmalion is the basis of, what was it? My Fair Lady with Audrey Hepburn. The Scarlet Letter. The Great Gatsby. Very different women in, well, the women are the same, just society's attitude to them is a little different anyway. Great Expectations. The Time Machine with Weena. I didn't want to draw the gargoyle things. Treasure Island. We drew a treasure map. The Painted Veil. This is the most perfect beige mid skin tone. Sometimes they call the colour flesh, which is bad, I think, because there's no one colour that is flesh. We know flesh comes in lots of colours, so calling a colour flesh is stupid. But some brands still actually have that, which is crazy. Terracotta, sometimes it's Naples orange, or it can be like pale orange, these sorts of colours, and they're not beige tone. You can mix a beige, you can mix a skin tone. But when you're starting with watercolour, or if you're in flow and you just don't want to be mixing a beige, because all of the darker skin tones are well and truly covered because you've got all the gorgeous sepias, umbers, and you can of course mix any skin tone. But this one, she can be a little bit of a doozy. So anyway, I love it. This is War of the Worlds, which is a really lovely, warm sepia. This is Journey to the Centre of the Earth. This is Lost World, beautiful dark umber. And Art of War, which is a gorgeous black. Oh, and Heart of Darkness, which is an indigo inky blue. And then I've just got other bits and pieces, little quotes about colour. Wow, starting a painting, it's like walking into a cold sea. You're hesitant, shiver against it, but unless you take those initial steps, you'll never be able to swim or feel the joy of the ocean. Just got to dive in, don't you? So I'm going to flip this page around. So this was the prompt sheet from when I released these, and it was during May. Now I've got water here. I've also got my drench sponge, which is it's just one of my most used things. You can use any sponge, but this is just perfect. And it's in there so it just doesn't get all messy. I just need to make sure it's got a little bit of moisture in it, not too wet. This helps me control the water, and I call it my Dame Judy, because it's a Dame Judy drench. So I'll put Dame Judy there. And we can put our beautiful colour library off to one side. There we go. And these colours, they just look like very dark pans. When watercolour looks like this, it just means it's exceptionally transparent, translucent, which it just makes it beautiful to use. Now, I am not on a watercolour paper here. I am on our window pane paper, which is a vellum. And you can get this in a journal, or you can get it in a, oh, that black is divine. And this is the Levitation paper. What's on the back of that? Oh, just bits and pieces. So I'm just going to pop just whatever excess brush, whatever paint is in my brush. Just so we've got a blib blob happening. And I've just got, you don't just only have to have watercolour paper to create watercolour on. You can add watercolour gesso like I did yesterday in the live stream. And I've also, while I was waiting to go live, I added just a little dot of water, pop, 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 just so that everything's activated. It's not completely necessary, but it was fun to do. And this is just the little butterfly bottle. It's got a little love letter on the bottom for you. Love letter from the bottom of my heart, of course. So we've got Heart of Darkness, Art of War, Lost World, Painted Veil. The Painted Veil. It was quite a I suppose at the time, I suppose they're cautionary tales, but it was like a love mystery. The grass is always greener type situation. I think it was made into a movie as well. Oh, yum. So we have War of the Worlds. This is Treasure Island. Time Machine. Great Expectations. I think I may have got that round the wrong way. And I might use this one. I'm just going to connect them to each other so they can have a little talk. Why not? And like I said, this is not a watercolour paper. So how about if we take this one up here then? Let them have a little chit chat. And we get some little mixes in between. Yes. I can't remember what the name of that colour is. Great Gatsby. How could I forget? It's named for Robert Redford's hair. There we go. Scarlet Letter. I'll show you the full. Oh, I've been forgetting to put the colours over here. But this, again, the watercolour will look very different wherever you put it. This is Pygmalion. This is a what's called a convenient mix. It's a softer colour. It's beautiful for cheeks. So let's put a little bit of, this will be her hair, or whoever it is. Just a little bit of this mid-tone, a flesh colour, and we'll add a little bit of this as well into the mix. Might even let her have a chin, and then just let that dry down. I love working on watercolour papers, not all things that aren't really a watercolour paper, because the watercolour, it has to find its way. It's not going to be straightforward for it. Like, it's got to do a little bit of a dance. So I'm just adding that Pygmalion on here as well, and just let it be all blobby. I'm going to add a bit more of this red in here and there. Where was my Pygmalion? I started off just so we can keep it nice and soft. I've added it quite darkly there, but we can build this colour, but it's a coral. Like a softer coral. Then we're going into our Little Women, Pride and Prejudice, and Wuthering Heights here. This is Little Women, that was Wuthering Heights. Look at that, that's the quinacridone pink. We've got an Opera Rose. Oh, the Opera Rose is just heaven. So Opera Rose, always, in every brand, what I call Pride and Prejudice, is always going to have a little bit of a light fastness thing, just because it's got fluorescence in it. That doesn't mean it's going to disappear straight away, or it's going to do anything dire, but imagine not using it at all. Look, if you become a super famous artist and your work becomes collectible and la-di-da-di-da and ends up in the Louvre, it's up to the conservators. They'll work out how to preserve your work. You don't have to worry about it. So just enjoy what the art supplies that bring you joy, that's what I say. And then let the experts work it out. They can preserve all sorts of things. It's a whole part of art, science and conservation. Look at that, that's 80 days. I'm just going to pop a little bit in here as well. Just have a little... Oh, pages of an art journal. Sorry I have to refer to your channel name, but that's what comes up, that's all I can see. So she says she used to go to all the Michael stores to gather up all the art supplies. Oh, fun days. Yes, I've got to say though, I know it's a change, and sometimes we don't like change, and we love, you know, the big stores, especially in America, all the vouchers and all that sort of stuff. But the freedom that I have creating these sorts of things, exclusives for my website, under my steam, it's amazing. And the value that I can give you, this set of watercolours, if I had these in stores, would be nearly 3 times the price. But because of the way I do things now, I can just get so much more value. I can do exactly what, it doesn't have to go through anyone else. There are no guardrails on me at all. So it's just a wonderful way for me to create art supplies. But I know it is a change, and I know it was lovely being able to just go down to the Michaels. They're wonderful and full of magic, but I just need to text Angus. I can't find my phone. Just going to ask Angus if he can control that barking. I don't know what's creating that. And my phone's telling me that I don't know an Angus. Okay, sorry, I'm just... So this was Secret Garden, no, Wind in the Willows, and this is Anne of Green Gables. This is Secret Garden. So there's the colours swatched out on this beautiful film. So it's going to go all wrinkly and crinkly like that. The colours aren't going to be as impactful as they would be on other paper, but I love it. I love the effect. Oh, Marcy says, Jane, your creative ideas in this journal absolutely blow my mind. It's so good. Oh, you're so sweet. And then the cover is just one of my heavier pieces of watercolour paper, and then this is one of my journal covers. So I could actually put this into a bigger book as a signature. So, you know, if I started a whole other, which I may well do, using the paper packs, that size is great. And I'm just going to grab a different journal. This is another handmade one. So I've got pigment pebbles here, I've got twinkle toes, lots of different papers. Oh, the twinkle toes, oh, isn't that cute? See how you can play with the layers with this paper? So that's the window pane. This is Back to the Fuchsias. I have to say one of my favourite watercolours. I can't say my favourite watercolour because they're kind of all my favourites. Okay, so let's, this is Water Wands. Oh, I've got so much to show you with watercolours. Boiling this down to one day is just a bit scary. This is Watercolour Lay Cake. This is either Joyful Gesso or my Watercolour Gesso, or a combo of both. So I wonder, because I really want to show you this as well. I'm going to have an avalanche of art supplies. Oh, trying to avoid an avalanche, I made one happen. Okay. Well, it's happened now, so there you go. What I've got here is the watercolour in some of my Svelte sprayer bottles. So they now come with the little mixing ball inside. And when they're sitting here like this, the pigment settles to the bottom. So you just need to give them a little shake. So I just need to pick out my colours. Well, definitely those two look terrific, don't they? And I've got this, oh, maybe a bit of orange. So let's get Great Gatsby. And let's get a bit of yellow happening as well. So I've got Time Machine here. I'll pop that yellow back. Yeah, okay, these warm colours. All right, then I'll keep Little Women out as well. But I've got one of each of the watercolours there. So I've got them as my sprays. And I just really love this trigger spray, and I love this long format for this, because when I get going with my watercolour sprays, I do lots. and I like to spray on big pages, and I find pump, pump, pump like this with these little guys, because you can of course put the watercolour spray. Just squeeze a little bit of watercolour in, a little bit of distilled water. You can add a drop or two of gum arabic or the kind of binder if you wanted to. Not completely necessary. If you find that you're getting any mould issues, sometimes a little bit of organic naughtiness can float in there, and you know, as you're making things and you can get a little bit of a mould, just pull that revolting mould out. It's like a bit of snot, just pull that out. A bit of clove oil or anything that has anti-moulding properties, little drop, and that's usually fine. This is, I find, what I was saying is, when I'm spraying like this a lot, my finger gets sore. Not too sore, but I just find these a bit more forgiving. And then I've also got the watercolour in the water brushes as well. Same thing, just need to shake it up. And then I've also got the gouache in there, the Blinded by the Light gouache. So we might use those as well. So usually when I'm making up the spray, I make that up and then I pour a little bit into a water brush. Do you need to make a whole set with every colour? No, you can just make up enough for whatever it is that you're creating. Because I like to have things at the ready, of course I have too much of everything. But it's still not enough. I need more, more, more. Okay, now I'm just looking to, oh, I've just got some little laces here by the side of my desk in one of my storage things. I'm going to just move that to the side, and I'm just going to pop that on here. I might use a little bit of, what about if I just did her tail in a second movement? Let's do that. It's going to be an orange and pink affair. Now this isn't my most delicate of my laces, and all of the, I've got tons of different laces on my website. Actually, you know what? That's the Byzantinian one. I've got this one that's got shells. I'm going to do this one. I'm going, although that is mermaid's colours, but I'm going to go delicate. Am I going to go delicate? Let's just see. Let's just see. And you can play with the amount of watercolour that you've got. The more you've got, the more pigmented the spray will be. It's taken that long of shaking to get, that's because I've got quite a bit of pigment in there. I can do a little test to the side. There's a little lock on there. I'm just doing a test on the side here on some paper. Oh yes. Let's get this straight. I'll pop her there. Use her as a weight. Thank you, Dame Judy. Oh, we've got a bit of drippy action, yum. And I'm going to really give that a shake. I want it quite pigmented. Okay, and I'm going to add a warmer yellow in there as well. This, I'm not going to get much of a impression because I've added too much water, I think. Let's just see what we get. I'm adding a little bit of everything. I've got a bit of tattoo ink here as well. Look how pretty my test sheet is. I wish I had a bit more pink on that side, so I might just dab it and see what we get, but I don't want to dab it right off. No, I want to let it dry like that. So I'm going to have a look at questions. Well, I'm just going to hit this with the, that'll never dry in time. Oh well. Let's just have a look at questions. Hey Jen, how are you going? Create with Becca says a crafter lunch. Exactly, that's what happened under my table. I've got everything everywhere. Mistress Distress says, don't worry about the dog. Oh, I worry that they're going to set yours off at home. Okay, now I'm going to pop some of our sprays back. It's gorgeous, by the way. Such a nice way to just get a little bit of something happening. Takes a little bit longer to dry on the gesso surface, just because it is what it is. I could add something more up here. Oh, do I want that big splash of yellow? Probably not. So I'll move those. Okay, I think we're doing well. Now I'm just averting a disaster that is unfolding around me. Just excuse me for 1 second. So obviously this system that I've got going on here isn't working. But I can't get my feet back under my table until I can just ignore those bits there. Okay, sorry, I've kicked that crafter lunch, the art supply lunch, out of the way. Right. Okay, now I'm just going to move this up there. Well, I could let this dry for a minute. And is this dry enough for me to bring back? I think so. Now, if you have not drawn faces before and that worries you a little bit, you can do sploppy ploppy watercolour like I've just done, and you could do it to the size of a stencil if you had such a thing. So this one could almost, look how beautiful, like even though it's rough, all of the colours, how pretty will that be? So I'll leave her as option 1. She will just about fit as well. That sort of shape, so will she. And I've also got these girls. Yes, she will be about the right size as well. So these are all single stencils that are in my collab with, I must use this one, with Creative Expressions. And I'm going to use this girl. So this is the Wishful Fairy, I think she's called, can't quite remember. Now, the way to, how to use her, how to utilise her. I'm just going to, how pretty is that? Just take those puddles off. So that's going to make a little mark there, but that's all right. I'll be covering that up in a minute. Normally I'll just let that dry, but because I'm going to be popping a stencil, I know that I'll just end up with everything everywhere. And if I spray through this, what I'll get is the lines will only have that skin tone. So that's not really what I want. So I'm going to trace, I think I might trace her, or let's try something. I don't know if this really will work, but I'm going to give it a go. Because what is life about if not for experimenting? Yes, let's just do it. Let's just do it. So what I've got here is one of the new Muse mops. This is part of my collection with art foamies. So it's like a long, thin little foam tool. And I'm going to make a little stamp, basically, with some watercolour. In fact, I might pick up my watercolour and apply it. Like I said, I don't know if this will work. I don't see why it shouldn't. What does work very well is the marzipan twists, because you just colour that on. but I just need to get enough colour. So I'm using Oliver Twist. It's all about the twist. And I'm just going to add more water so it's quite soft. And I might add, to neutralise this, the opposite is turquoise. So I'm going to, purple and yellow, sorry. Well, I've just made a bit more lavender, that's all right. Yellow. So I might just neutralise it a little. So add a little bit of yellow. So the colour I get, what I'm after is a soft muted purple. Perfect. I'm really making jellyfish, if you've been with me for a while, jellyfish mermaid marker. And I've got my little face here, so I'll pop her there. I could also just trace through with a pencil, or watercolour pencil would be nice too, but I just want to try this. Do I want the hair coming off? Maybe, I'm just going to do it. So, oh, this is going to be too watery. I don't think this will work. Don't give up at the first hurdle, Jane. No, it's not going to work. So, rather than that, let's go for something that I know will... I could put my marzipan twist on that. So this is the colour that... But look how beautiful the result is. We'll just have a look. Oh, it's worth playing around with. The other one is the Gods and Monsters ink might be a better little contraption. So I'll just give that a little mist like that. And I have to go fairly soon too, because I've got to take my niece and spend some time with her. Oh no. Hey Sophie, I'm live. Okay. You come and say hello to everyone if you want. But we don't want the dogs to bark. Oh God, you got me fright.
Oh my gosh. Where is everybody?
Oh, they're here on YouTube.
Oh, hi guys.
Oh, they can't hear if I put you on. Lean down. Oh, it's boobs.
Hi.
That's my beautiful Sophie. Some of you would remember her from when she was tiny. Just a little thing. Zozzy. Real life, guys. Real life. So, might even... This is the joy of something like a stencil, is we can get, because it happens quickly, so I just feel a bit more experimental because it, you know, it just doesn't take much time, so there's not as much pressure to do anything. But this is not, I'll say it hasn't worked the way I envisaged it. This has made little rough marks, but I think I might actually end up looking really, really good. I just have to find what thing is going to work for me. And I'm also not on watercolour paper, so I can't push the paper too far. But I think if I actually use watercolour, that might be the best thing. So I'll stick with my Oliver Twist, and I can use this over here as a mixing pan. I'm going to pop a little bit of that yellow back in there so I get this muted purple, and the more yellow I add in, it will become more browner and browner. So I'm going to just define that face as per, similar to the stencil. But I've got quite a light mix with watercolour here. I've got a little bit of pencil on there now. I've got a little soft bit of Pygmalion here, so I'm going to keep her soft and watery. It's a little messy, but that will be fine. And then I might come in with a dark colour. So I'm going to come in with Heart of Darkness. I just love mixing Heart of Darkness and Lost World, and getting this dark blue grey. And then I can always mix in actual black, which is the Art of War in there. Just add a little bit of definition. I might add in a little bit more blue. So, Sophie, you all packed up and ready for me to take you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good girl. Sophie's just finished all of her schooling, waiting for her exam results for all the work that she's been doing for the last 2 years. Well, I suppose it's more than 2 years, isn't it, Soph? She said for kindergarten. Do you remember when I went to your school when you were down by the ocean?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Was it kindergarten or year 1?
I think it might have been year 1 or 2. You were little. Very cute. I might pull that darker, stronger colour. Here, and what this will turn into, I don't know yet. That will be a surprise. Surprise, surprise! But I like how sort of messy. I think we've got another little flower happening here. So I'm going to get this darker purple. Let's have a look just to see. Oh, people have been saying hi. The sprays are, yes, the watercolour, distilled water, and a little tiny bit of gum arabic, yes, if you wanted to. We'll take the brown out from there. I might add in a bit more of that yellow to connect it here. And a bit of Lost World here. Oh, that's too dark. I need to let things dry off. So what I might do is we might have to leave this little one until it dries, or I'm going to not get quite the effects that I'm after. So I'll just soften this off a little bit. It's funny in a live, like I really feel like I need to get things moving, but art does take the time that it takes. Like arts, supplies do need to dry to be allowed that time to actually do their thing. But you know, because I'm trying to get things, move through things for you as well, it's like this balance. To finish something, but that doesn't always happen. Now this is very dangerous, having my watercolour here and my paint, my water way over there, because the chances of dropping water on it is 1000%. Now, I like this. I have to remember that little technique for something else, but I don't want that colour there. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water and just help move it. I might even just add some paper to get that to move a little bit. And just, I'm going to add a tiny little bit of acrylic in there. Ugh, it's dirty. Oops. So this is a brush with Fame. And then I'm just going to let that dry. So it's going to be just a very loose little floral something. But just before I go, I'm going to add just a little bit quick of white. And then that can be drying as well, just to tidy this up just a little bit. So this is white layer cake. So I'm going to get that activated. I want it quite watery and white though. I don't need it to be opaque. So I'm just going to just control this a little bit, remembering that it's not dry. So I'm going to get smearing and whatever, but this will just form like a light greyish background perhaps. And come over that actual. And then we'll just let that dry and we'll just see where we go next, because I'm going to have to work on it a little bit. She says as she keeps touching it. And I can just, this is a, layer cake is another water media as well, so it works really well with watercolour, of course. And I'll just keep pepping away at her. And I'm using the On Tour Brush Ballet brush. Oh, I can't stop and I really do need to go. Goodness me, come on, love. And that was Pygmalion at its brightest. I'm going to add a little pop more of that actually and pop that up here too. Just want to get this to a point where I'm just letting it dry and we're getting it to a good stage. A little bit more painted veil here and there, and then I can just come back with a no water on my brush and just refine that a little, and then I can just, at the point where I'm nearly at the point where I can leave it mentally. So I've just used this colour to push off that darker brown a little bit to the back. I might even do that here. Just refining that. We'll sort of end up with a sort of ethereal little face. And then I can add some detail once everything's dry. So what have we got tomorrow? Inky Depths water brush. Okay, I can put, I keep working on that because that's another fabulous brush. So we can use, that's what these are in. The watercolours are in these, so that's what we'll have for tomorrow. But I do love adding definition with the water ones as well. So this is one of my favourites, is Claret. And this is just a really nice way to add definition, soft definition. You can even use it like I am into the wet watercolour. It feels nice to actually do it, but it looks good too. So it can stay like pencil or it can behave more like a watercolour. Just see how it goes. Okay. We're having fun. Hey, Auntie May. She says, oh my goodness, I cannot believe I'm catching a large with this paper. Oh, isn't it nice? Okay, so I'm going to go and hang out with Sophie. And that's a little bit of what the watercolour can do. We're not even on watercolour paper. And of course, we've got this little start as well with the sprays that we had as well. Look out there. It just is gorgeous through the lace. It's just this lovely, delicate background. This is gesso on some of my black art card. So one of the dark arts paper, it's called. Just going to go like that and smudge that out. And this is going to be, so we'll let it dry down. Oh, what's on the back? Oh, it's fun. We'll let it dry down and then we'll see where we go. But it's very, very loose watercolour. And here we just swatched out the colour library, which is what we're celebrating in the Artvent calendar today. So get your watercolours out and have some fun. And I'll see you tomorrow. We will continue to work on this a little bit, and whatever else happens, happens. That's the joy of a live stream. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. And of course, everything I've shown you is available at janedavenport.com. The links are in the description even. Bye.